Welcome back, everyone, to the AI podcast at DigitView.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine an AI, right? Not just crunching numbers or doing tasks, but genuinely understanding the really intricate rhythms of reality.
Hmm.
I mean, everything from your own biology to, say, the pulse of global economies. And then, this is the key part, making those complex patterns clear to you.
Exactly. That's the vision.
That's the, well, incredibly ambitious vision in the sources you've shared with us today. So we're doing a deep dive into something called a quality data AI.
QDA.
Right, QDAI. It sounds like a concept that represents a pretty profound, maybe even revolutionary shift in how we think about AI development.
It really is. It's framed as this symbiotic, self-evolving system.
Yeah.
And its whole purpose is specifically to augment our cognition, how we think.
Okay, so our mission today is basically to give you a shortcut. Yeah, a shortcut to understanding this new class of intelligence. We'll focus on the core principles, the tech behind it, the mechanisms, and crucially, the ethical side.
Which is huge.
Absolutely huge. The goal is that by the end, you'll have a really solid, well-informed perspective on how this vision could genuinely enhance your ability to make good decisions and, just navigate this increasingly complex world. So, let's jump right in then. What is this monumental vision really about? Because honestly, it sounds like way more than just another upgrade to the AI we already know.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating here, I think, is that this quality data AI, QDAI, it moves way beyond our current idea of AI as just a specialized tool for specific tasks.
Like a chatbot or an image generator.
Precisely. This envisions a truly symbiotic system, one that's self-evolving. Its core design is built to actively seek out and understand the underlying patterns of reality itself.
Wow.
And the sources really stress the breadth of that, from, like you say, the intricate rhythms of human biology all the way to the complex dynamics of global economies. It's vast.
Okay.
And the ultimate purpose here is pretty profound. It's not just about the AI doing analysis, but about making these patterns, which are often hidden from us, actually understandable to us, to humanity.
Right.
And by doing that, the aim is to significantly enhance our ability, both collectively and individually, to make truly informed decisions. It's really positioned as a new class of intelligence for universal benefit. It's a fundamental rethink.
That's a really powerful distinction. So it's not just giving us answers, but helping us get why those are the answers. How could understanding these, previously hidden patterns actually change your world, maybe in ways we haven't even thought about yet? Okay, so to build something this ambitious, the sources are saying they need a complete rethink of how AI is even developed. Let's maybe get into the engine room now, starting with the very foundation.
Exactly. The absolute core of QDAI lies in this really crucial shift, both philosophically and practically. We're moving from what's largely been a model-centric approach in AI.
Okay, what does that mean, model-centric?
Well, think about it. The sources say over 90% of academic papers right now focus on perfecting the AI model itself, usually for a static data set. The model gets all the glory, all the attention.
90%, that's staggering. What does that tell us about maybe the blind spots in how we're doing things now, and how does QDAI fix that?
It tells us we might have been optimizing the wrong thing. We focus so much on making imperfect models work on often imperfect data. The data-centric idea flips that entirely.
Flips it how?
The main goal becomes systematically, algorithmically improving the quality of the data set itself. Data is treated as the fundamental, permanent asset. It's a huge paradigm shift.
So it's not just collecting more data then?
No, exactly. That's what we often call data-driven. Just pile it higher. Data-centric prioritizes quality. More data isn't always better, not if it's, noisy or inconsistent.
Right. Garbage in, garbage out, basically.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So the QDAI solution here is this closed-loop, self-correcting design. It's constantly applying these data-centric principles in real time to its own inputs. It automatically diagnoses and fixes problems like inconsistent labels, noisy samples, incorrect values.
It cleans its own data.
Yes, and it even identifies its own blind spots and goes out to acquire new data to fill them. This constant automated process of data cleansing and curation, that's the true foundation of its reliability. The data itself becomes an active, evolving part of the system.
Okay, so once it has this pristine, dynamically curated data, what's at the heart of how this AI actually sees or interprets the world? How does it make sense of all that high-quality input?
That's where the advanced AI pattern recognition really kicks in. It's the engine, you could say, for classifying and identifying data samples. Could be text, images, sounds, even complex behavioral sequences. It looks for the underlying similarities and characteristics.
And this is powered by machine learning.
Exactly. Cutting-edge machine learning and deep learning techniques. They're designed to find and leverage patterns within these massive complex data sets.
Okay.
And broadly, we talk about two main types of learning here. There's supervised learning. That's where you train the system on labeled data, like showing it millions of medical images already labeled tumor or no tumor until it learns to spot them.
Got it.
Then there's unsupervised learning. That's where the system finds hidden structures and unlabeled data all on its own. This is how it might detect, say, suspicious banking activity or early signs of disease in medical images, not because it was told what a tumor looks like, but because it spots deviations from the norm.
What's really fascinating here, I think, is how it bridges the gap between the AI's analysis and our human comprehension. You know, as humans, we often make these unconscious inferences. We just know something, get a gut feeling, but we can't always say why. So, like, if I walk into a room and instantly feel off about the vibe, but I don't consciously know why, could QDAI actually show me the data points that led to that feeling?
Exactly. That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Our human pattern recognition often is an unconscious inference. It's effortless, immediate, but the logic is opaque, right?
Yeah.
It's hard for us to spell out why we perceive a pattern.
Yeah. Okay.
But with QDAI, especially using these advanced explainable AI, XAI techniques, it can potentially explicitly quantify the contribution of each data point to its conclusion. Yeah. So it means it can take those unconscious inferences, those gut feelings, and make them conscious and transparent. It gives you a kind of meta understanding that humans cannot achieve on their own. It clarifies the mechanics of why you understand something. It shows you the evidence behind that vibe.
Okay, so this isn't some static system then. It's not just built and deployed like, traditional software. It's constantly learning, adapting, evolving, a bit like how we learn throughout our lives.
Absolutely. That's a fundamental shift QDAI represents.
Yeah.
Moving from static models to truly adaptive AI systems. These systems can automatically adjust their behavior and logic without needing manual retraining. They mirror that human capacity to adjust to new situations and learn from experience.
And how is that managed? How does it stay on track?
It's managed by this sophisticated closed-loop control system. Think of it operating on a continuous feedback cycle.
Okay, what are the steps?
Well, think of it in 5 key continuous steps. First, there's data ingestion, constantly collecting real-time data from all sorts of sources, maybe even your wearable devices, like the sources mentioned.
Right.
Second, pattern recognition. The algorithms identify trends, figure out baselines, spot anomalies.
Yeah.
Third, decision-making. It applies those patterns it found to make autonomous decisions, or maybe just recommendations.
Okay.
Fourth is crucial. Feedback integration. It watches the actual outcomes of its actions out there in the real world. Did its recommendation work?
Learning from consequences.
Precisely. And that leads to the 5th step, model evolution. It automatically updates its own internal logic, its parameters, so it can continuously improve. It's basically a very sophisticated form of reinforcement learning.
And self-correction is built in.
Oh, absolutely integral. The AI recognizes and fixes its own mistakes without external intervention. That's what makes the system more robust and reliable over time. This ability to self-correct, that really is the pinnacle of the closed-loop system.
Okay, so we're talking about this incredibly powerful, self-correcting AI. It can understand patterns across, well, pretty much everything from our personal biology to the global economy. But for something so autonomous, so maybe even omnipresent, the immediate question that jumps into my mind, and I bet for a lot of our listeners, is about trust.
The trust question.
Yeah. How do we actually trust something so sophisticated? What does this all mean for, our relationship with this kind of AI?
That's the critical question, isn't it? And the sources place enormous emphasis on building that trust. A central pillar for this is something called explainable AI, or XAI.
AI, okay.
And it's dedicated entirely to demystifying the black box nature of these complex AI algorithms. So a trustworthy QDAI has to stick to 4 key principles.
What are they?
First, explanation. It has to provide clear reasons or evidence for its outputs, not just because. Second, meaningful. Those explanations have to be understandable to you, the person using it, because, as the sources say, a one-size-fits-all explanation does not exist.
Makes sense. What else?
Third, explanation accuracy. The explanation it gives must actually reflect how the AI reasoned. It can't just make up a plausible story. And finally, number 4 is knowledge limits.
Knowledge limits.
Yeah, the AI should only operate under the conditions for which it was designed. And it needs to have sufficient confidence in its output before acting. That's a really critical safeguard, especially in high-stakes situations like medicine or finance.
But isn't there a kind of tension here? We often hear that the most complex AI models, the deep learning ones, they offer the best performance, right? But they're also the hardest to interpret, the biggest black boxes. How does QDAI square that circle?
That's a really sharp observation, and it's a fundamental challenge in AI right now.
Right.
The way QDAI seems to resolve it is by using a smart combination of approaches.
Okay.
So where possible, for tasks where super high complexity isn't essential, it would use simpler, inherently interpretable models you can easily understand.
Hmm.
But for those really intricate tasks where you need the power of complex models, it would rely on what are called post hoc explanation tools, things like LIME and A, maybe you've heard of them.
Vaguely, yeah. Tools that explain after the fact.
Exactly. They don't change the model's complexity, but they provide insights after a decision is made. They basically tell us which inputs mattered most for that specific AI decision. So this kind of engineered XAI approach gives you that clear and justifiable rationale, which is just essential for trust, even when the underlying model is really complex.
Okay, so explainability is key. What else goes into building this trust architecture?
Well, beyond just explainability, there's a robust ethical framework. And the sources emphasize this isn't just a checklist, not a single set of rules, but a continuous practice that's embedded throughout the AI's entire life cycle.
Like what?
Like transparency, being really honest about the system's purpose, its data sources, what it can't do, its limitations. That means things like clear documentation, making algorithms understandable, and always disclosing when you're interacting with an AI, not a human.
Okay.
Then there's human oversight. You often hear this called human in the loop, or HITL.
Right, HITL. Keep the humans involved.
Exactly. Because while AI brings incredible efficiency and speed, we humans bring irreplaceable qualities: intuition, ethical judgment, cultural context. HITL makes sure humans stay actively involved, especially in high-stakes decisions.
So QDAI would have built-in checks.
Yes, intentional checkpoints where human experts can review, override, or guide its behavior. Could be things like humans labeling data before the AI is trained, or maybe providing real-time approval in a critical workflow, like in a hospital.
Makes sense. What else? Accountability.
Absolutely non-negotiable. Establishing clear lines of responsibility. Who is accountable if the AI makes a mistake, especially when decisions have significant impacts? Defining that provides recourse and reinforces trust.
And bias. AI bias is a huge topic.
A massive one. And bias mitigation is framed as an ongoing responsibility. It starts right at the beginning with sourcing representative data, but it has to continue with rigorous testing and post-deployment monitoring, because AI can so easily inherit and amplify existing societal biases if we're not careful.
So how comfortable are people likely to be with this?
Well, the sources suggest public comfort is highly nuanced. People seem generally okay, maybe even enthusiastic, for things like cancer risk assessment and climate simulations. But there are significant concerns when AI replaces human judgment in areas like hiring, caregiving, or the justice system.
Yeah, I can see that.
So QDII needs what's called a context-aware trust framework. The level of AI autonomy and human oversight has to adjust based on the ethical risks. You need really strong HITL for those high-stakes decisions.
Okay, let's talk privacy then, because this idea of continuous data collection from all activity levels, potentially throughout your entire life, that immediately sounds like a privacy minefield. How would QDAI handle that without becoming, frankly, a massive surveillance risk?
You've hit on one of the absolute biggest challenges here. It absolutely presents immense data privacy and security challenges. Just the sheer volume of sensitive information, combined with AI's uncanny ability to piece together seemingly unconnected fragments of data to make incredibly accurate inferences. Yeah, that creates a huge surveillance risk.
So a single, big, central QDAI brain holding everyone's data, that's a non-starter.
That would be a massive liability, exactly. So the solution proposed in the sources is quite different. It's a federated, distributed network of specialized AI agents.
Federated, distributed. What does that mean practically?
It means the data would mostly be collected and processed locally on the user's device. Think like on your wearable or your phone.
Ah, so it stays with you.
Largely, yes. And only generalized and anonymized patterns would be shared upwards for the meta-analysis across the larger system. This decentralized approach is really key. It tries to balance that need for comprehensive data to find the patterns with the absolute imperative for individual privacy.
How does it ensure that?
Well, by following best practices. Things like collecting only the data necessary for the specific purpose, seeking explicit and informed user consent, really clear consent, and implementing robust data governance policies, like role-based access controls and strong encryption. It's about putting you in control of your data while still letting the system learn the bigger picture.
Okay, so let's assume we've built this thing right. It's built on quality data, strong ethics, a smart trust model. What can this quality data AI actually do for us? Where could it make a real, tangible difference in your life?
Well, the potential applications are just vast. Let's start with, say, human behavior and psychological patterns.
Okay.
It could establish a really deep personal baseline for what is normal and not for you as an individual
Yeah.
by continuously monitoring your actions, your physiological signals.
How would that help with mental health?
Well, imagine it detecting early indicators of stress, anxiety, or depression. Maybe from subtle shifts in your heart rate variability picked up by your wearable. Or even using computer vision to interpret facial expressions and body language, if you can set it to that.
Ah.
The sources mention an app called Never Alone, designed for students potentially at risk of suicidal tendencies. It's a powerful example of how this tech could enable truly proactive, preventive psychological care.
That's incredible. What about communication, relationships?
Yeah, it could potentially function as a personalized communication coach, analyzing your vocal tone, your conversational patterns, giving you feedback on things like listening skills, persuasiveness, even articulation. Using natural language processing and sentiment analysis, it could maybe detect the underlying emotion of a conversation and guide you toward more empathetic responses. Could be a really affordable, accessible alternative to traditional coaching for some people.
Interesting. Okay, what about learning? Personalized education.
This aligns perfectly with personalized learning trends. AI-powered adaptive platforms could analyze student data in real time, tracking strengths, weaknesses, how they approach problems creatively.
And adapt the lessons.
Exactly. The AI could dynamically adjust lessons and provide personalized exercises. It acts like scaffolding, making sure students really master concepts at their own pace.
And for teachers, does it replace them?
No, the vision is augmentation, not replacement. It could serve as an intelligent co-pilot for teachers, automating tasks like grading, lesson planning, maybe assessment creation, which frees up educators to focus on providing targeted interventions and that crucial human-centric approach. The sources are clear. AI augments human capabilities here. It's not to replace the essential role of the human teacher.
Okay, so moving from learning and behavior to our actual biology, our health, how could this shift healthcare from being reactive to, well, truly proactive?
This is where it gets incredibly powerful, I think. It could fundamentally shift healthcare from today's reactive sickness-focused model to a truly preventive, wellness-focused one. Imagine wearable bioelectronics and smart textiles. Think smart clothing, right? Woven with embedded biosensors. These could continuously monitor your physiological and biochemical parameters, heart rate, blood pressure, glucose levels, maybe even biomarkers in sweat,
Wow, constantly.
constantly establishing your unique personal health baseline. By learning your normal patterns, the AI could then detect subtle, potentially dangerous deviations, things like irregular heart rhythms or sudden unexplained changes in skin temperature. This provides early detection of health deterioration and real-time alerts.
So catching problems much earlier.
Much earlier, and goes beyond diagnostics. The most advanced application discussed is closed-loop therapeutics.
Closed-loop therapeutics.
Yeah, imagine an AI that could dynamically adjust medication dosage in real time based on your body's immediate physiological response. For example, adjusting insulin based on continuous glucose monitoring. It creates a personalized, self-correcting system for patient care. It's a massive step towards true precision medicine.
Okay, that's the personal level. What about the bigger picture? Economic patterns, political, societal ones. These are incredibly complex systems. How could QDAI unravel those in a way that actually matters?
This is where QDAI's ability to process huge amounts of unstructured data and find those tricky nonlinear patterns really comes into its own. Take economic forecasting. Traditional models often miss subtle shifts.
Right.
But machine learning models within QDAI could process non-traditional data like text from news articles or even images, maybe satellite images of shipping ports, or analyzing social media sentiment. By doing that, they can uncover non-linear patterns that older models miss.
Leading to better predictions.
Exactly. More accurate and rapid predictions about economic trends, consumer behavior, market shifts. For businesses, this could mean vastly improved demand planning or the ability to respond much faster to supply chain disruptions.
And for politics or policy?
It could analyze massive data sets, maybe crowdsourced information too, to help policymakers identify the most critical challenges facing society. It could provide evidence-based insights to inform decisions, maybe even simulate the likely impacts of different policy options before they're implemented.
But there has to be a caution there,
A
right?
huge one. And the sources are explicit about it. AI is fundamentally ill-equipped to handle inherently human concepts like fairness, justice, and equity. Those value judgments must remain squarely in the domain of human judgment. The AI can inform, it can analyze, but it cannot and should not dictate our values or make those final ethical calls.
That's a really vital distinction to keep making. Okay, now stretching our imagination maybe even further. What about environmental patterns,
Yeah.
nature? Even as the sources hint, universal patterns. Could this AI help us understand the planet itself?
This is definitely more speculative, but it's an incredibly compelling potential application. QDAI could extend its pattern recognition capabilities to the natural world on a scale we just can't manage now. Imagine it ingesting these vast streams of data from climate sensors everywhere, satellite imagery, biodiversity databases, oceanographic data, all simultaneously, identifying incredibly complex, interconnected patterns that are just beyond human analytical capacity right now.
And then acting on them.
Potentially, yes. That closed-loop nature we talked about could be applied to continuous environmental management. It might be able to detect early warning signs of an ecosystem's degradation, maybe triggering conservation efforts or mitigation strategies almost autonomously.
Wow.
The sources even speculate it could analyze global energy consumption patterns to identify inefficiencies and recommend real-time self-correcting adjustments. It's this vision of turning the planet, in a sense, into a data-driven, self-correcting system to better manage its own health. It's a radical idea for planetary stewardship.
It really sounds like a blueprint for a whole new reality. So what kind of tools, and maybe just as importantly, what new human roles would emerge in this ecosystem of equality data AI?
Yeah, this whole vision wouldn't just exist in the abstract. It would be realized through a deeply interconnected network of hardware and software.
Like the wearables you mentioned.
Exactly. Wearable bioelectronics and smart textiles would likely be your primary interface for collecting a lot of that real-time health and behavioral data. Innovations like smart clothing with embedded biosensors, making monitoring seamless, unobtrusive.
What else?
We'd likely see the next evolution of intelligent virtual assistants, not just reactive like Alexa or Siri now, but truly perspective-aware, learning from your behavior, your context, your history.
And robots.
Yes, humanoid robots are envisioned becoming productive workers, designed to, as the source puts it, literally step into our shoes in existing human environments like warehouses and factories. They could take on repetitive or hazardous tasks, improving safety and flexibility.
And software. Apps.
Absolutely. A whole suite of specialized applications embodying these QDAI principles. Things like those personalized education platforms, mental wellness apps, maybe communication coaching software, integrating these deep insights directly into our daily tools and lives.
Okay, this inevitably raises the big question, and it's one I know many listeners will have on their minds. Is this going to lead to mass job displacement, or is there a different outcome predicted here?
It's a very natural and, frankly, very important concern, but the analysis presented in the sources suggests that QDAI is more likely to catalyze a profound evolution of the workforce, creating new roles, augmenting existing ones, rather than causing widespread mass displacement.
But some jobs will be affected more than others.
Yes, the impact won't be equal. Repetitive, routine jobs, both the manual kind like assembly line work and cognitive tasks like basic data entry, those are seen as the most susceptible to automation.
But what about jobs requiring more complex human skills?
That's the crucial part. Jobs that require creativity, empathy, critical thinking, and complex social interactions are expected to be augmented by AI, not replaced.
Augmented how?
The idea is that humans will be freed up to focus on higher value work. We can offload the tedious, data-heavy, repetitive tasks to the AI, allowing us to concentrate on the things humans do best.
So new jobs will appear.
Definitely. The sources point to entirely new career paths emerging. Things like prompt engineers, people who become experts at crafting the inputs to get the best results from generative AI, or AI ethicists professionals dedicated to ensuring these powerful systems are fair, unbiased, and aligned with human values.
What else?
Maybe health tech implementation specialists, people who bridge the gap between the new AI tools and actual healthcare workflows,
Right.
or AI literacy trainers, educators, needed to prepare individuals and whole organizations for this changing workforce landscape.
So the end goal isn't human replacement, but collaboration.
Exactly. The ultimate outcome envisioned is a hybrid intelligence system. Humans and machines working collaboratively, learning from each other, achieving superior results, and continuously improve together.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening right now? This deep dive into a quality data AI. It feels like more than just another tech concept. It sounds like a framework for a whole new era of human AI collaboration.
I think that's right. This system, as envisioned, holds the potential to give humanity just an unprecedented level of understanding by doing what we talked about, making the unseen patterns of our world visible and comprehensible. It's really about empowering us with clarity in what feels like an increasingly complex reality.
And it seems like all of this hinges on that fundamental commitment to human-centric design, doesn't it? The transparency, the accountability, safeguarding privacy, and that really crucial human-in-the-loop element. It sounds like the quality of the data has to be matched by the quality of the ethical framework.
Absolutely, you've nailed it. Well, AI provides incredible speed, scale, analytical power. Human judgment, our intuition, our empathy, those remain irreplaceable. The path to this kind of quality data future isn't a destination. It's a careful, continuous journey of coevolution. And the ultimate metric of success has to be how much this AI genuinely augments human capabilities and understanding without ever overshadowing or replacing our core humanity.
Okay, so my final thought for you to ponder, just something to mull over after this deep dive. If an AI could truly make your own unconscious inferences conscious and transparent, if it could reveal the underlying logic of your own intuition, what new level of self-understanding could you unlock? About yourself, your decisions, your place in the patterns of the world. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive into your sources. We really hope it's given you a powerful new perspective and certainly a lot to think about.
Searching for answers to unanswered questions. Thanks for stopping by.
This is DigitView.